to the Ripple Effect podcast. I'm Jessica Ausbrook, along with Kim Grace from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. Hi.
Hi.
I'm glad you're back.
Thanks. It's been a while.
That's right. Did you get your bad wheel fixed?
I did get my bad wheel fixed. So
Good.
been out just a short period of time. Actually, it seems like forever.
Seemed like forever to me, too.
Yeah. I went from boot to crutches to stitches to therapy. And yeah, now I'm not quite ready to run a marathon yet.
Maybe don't do that, okay?
Yeah, I'm not going to. But I'm back in swing.
That's right.
Yay.
Yay.
So we have a special guest this morning.
That's right. Robin Whaley is with us from Flag. Robin, thank you for
Flag.
joining us.
No problem.
How
Glad
are
to
you?
be here. I'm
How are-
very good. Thank
good?
you.
Yeah. So tell us about Flag. So how did the name come about?
Okay. So FLAG is an international student exchange program, and it's been in business for 37 years, I think. FLAG actually means Foreign Links Around the Globe.
Ah,
Yeah, and
you
it's
go.
based out of Michigan. Our CEO is from Brazil, was a foreign exchange student way back in the day, and then started our company. So,
I love that.
yeah.
I like that a lot.
So how many people do what you do?
Good question. I think there are so I'm a chapter manager, and I think there's 7 of us. And then there's local coordinators who are like boots on the ground in specific areas. So I'm that as well. And I think there's like 300 of those,
Wow.
like all over the U.S.
So you place foreign exchange students in homes
Correct.
here.
Yeah. So we welcome students to our communities, and we find host families, and then we watch and monitor their experience for the 10 months that they're here. So they're here for a school year. So we orchestrate all of that, how they get here and their experience and school
It's a
and
lot.
all those things.
Somebody else's child in a different country for 10 months.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I bet that's hard not only for them adapting, but also their parents. I'm sure their parents are calling and saying, hey, where did you put my child? And I need to talk to them, and I'm coming now.
Yeah, with social media
Yeah.
and like
Makes
just
it so much
technology,
easier.
they're super connected. So their family's getting the rundown of how the school went before they're even home, probably.
Oh, they're on that program.
Yeah.
Power School, isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
So how many kids do you have right now placed?
For next year, so my team is at 50 students that we've placed for next year, and that's majority in Indiana, but we have some students in New York, Michigan, Georgia, things like that from my team specifically. But I think as a company, we have 420 some students that are coming this year.
Wow.
And I think we're at like half, so 200-ish have been placed.
My goodness.
So
So that still means we have 200 plus left to fill.
yes.
Yeah. So if folks are watching, maybe they've never been interested in doing a foreign exchange student, but they feel like their kids are old enough and they think it's the right time. What does that process look like?
Sure. So anybody can be in a foreign exchange student host family because everybody has something to offer a student. They don't have to have children in the home. They don't have to have school-age children in the home. But the process is that they would come to a local coordinator and say, like, I want to host a student, maybe a girl, maybe a boy, maybe from this country. This is our interest. So we're then looking at the database saying, okay, what student might be a great match for them? But we're looking at a piece of paper, and maybe we just have a piece of paper on the host family. So we don't totally know their like ins and outs of their family. So we're making these placements
Right.
based on, interests or their what they've requested. And then they apply, and then they have to do a background check. And then obviously we go to their homes, look at their homes, make sure they have all the things that the Department of State regulates. And then we make the placement with the student. And from there, our international director gets the placement and shares it with the student. And then they start connecting and talking and all the things.
So that's preferred to get this going months and months in advance. So then there can be that relationship already by the time the student comes to the United States.
That's ideal. It is really, really awesome when a host family can connect this early and make those connections. Because then when the student gets here, they feel like they already know them, right? So I had a Danish daughter that was here 5 years ago, and we talked every Sunday on her way home from school. And so we made those connections. So when she got here, it wasn't like, oh, like we're just getting to
Right,
know her.
right.
So it is ideal, but it is not always the case. Sometimes host families will say last minute, like, oh, we've thought about doing this, and can we do it now? And we're like, yes, you can. But it's a little tougher to make those connections, which you can still do. But yes.
Do you have a kid that will have a preference to go to a certain state or a certain preference with a family that you try to match up as well? I mean, I'm sure that makes it a little bit more difficult, but trying to meet their needs as far as, hey, I want to go to Texas or I want to go to New York. Do you try to pair that up and try to accommodate them the best you can?
Super great question. So yes, students can make a special request, but it is an extra, I think, fee for them to pick something specific.
Okay.
So if they say, I want to be in the South, they can say that. But then it does narrow our net to find that family in a specific area for that specific student. So those are a little more difficult. But yes, we do have some that will say, I have to be in this location or whatever. But the majority of them are just like, here I am. I want to come to the United States, and I'm open to going anywhere.
Right.
We had a girl last year, 2 years ago, that was placed in a teeny tiny little area in Texas, and she was from big city Brazil.
Oh, fun.
She had 480 people population in her little small town. And she was like,
gosh.
I'm going to small town United
Yeah.
States, but had an amazing experience. She said, everything was just so fun then. I made going to ice cream so important because I wanted to learn all the things. But I think it is a lot about perspective and that student just not having any expectations for this is just going to be the experience I have and I'm going to embrace that. Right.
Right.
So some kids will say, they want to go where it's warm. Or I have a lot that ask to go to the East Coast.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So
Did
I was
they
gonna
ask to come to Kokomo a lot?
actually a ton of kids asked to come to Indiana.
Love it.
That's what I wondered. Which state has more foreign exchange students?
Well, I don't know that a state.
The most, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a chapter leader in Indiana, and then I have a chapter leader in Michigan, and both of those states are very heavy populated with international students. But I think it's just because, I've been doing it for 10 years, so we've built this network of families. But what's really, really cool is those students are going back home and saying, I had a great experience in Indiana. And so then their families are like, well, we want our kids to have a great experience. So we're picking Indiana too because they had such a good experience or whatever. So it is cool when they pick Indiana. I'm like, do they know they're coming to the middle of the
gonna be cold.
cornfield?
4 seasons all the way.
But a lot of those kids have never seen snow. So
Yeah.
they'll say, I can't wait to see snow. And we're like, okay, well, it's going to snow and then it's going to be cold forever.
My niece was a host, and she's actually still, she's an ongoing host.
Yep.
And all the different ones that they've had at their home. It's just been impactful for our family. But there's one that sticks out, and she, I believe, was from Finland.
Yeah.
And I may be wrong, but I think she was from Finland. And she called me, and she said, I need to go Christmas shopping. And of course, she was going Aunt Kim because that's the way that, all the kids have referred to as me.
Yeah.
So she's like, Aunt Kim, you got to take me Christmas shopping. And I'm like, okay, let's go. We'll go Christmas shopping. And I learned so much about her and so much about her culture and different things. And we got to spend the day and pick out some things and, within her budget. But it was fun because there was a lot that I didn't know that, and just going with her to the mall. Yeah, was eye-opening for her. And I'm like, no, that's Blondie's cookies. We can have as many as we want.
Get the sugar one with the frosting. It freezes well.
Come here, honey. I'll take care of you.
Aunt Kim will take good care.
I got you covered. Let's go.
Well, I love hearing that because I just sitting here thinking about the ripple effect of your niece hosting rippled to you, and then the impact that you were exposed to Finland. You may never have had someone in your life. When I was in Finland, I was in a room full of students, probably 50 students and some speakers. and somebody sneezed. Well, I used to be a school teacher, and when somebody sneezed, just so you had an excuse to talk, everybody was like, bless you, bless you, bless you. That's just our culture, right?
Right.
Not one person said, bless you. And I was like, looking around, and I'm like, why did no one say bless you? And I thought, well, maybe they're just being conscientious of the speaker, right? So I'm, that passed. So then we're sitting eating lunch, and the kid down from me sneezed, and no one said anything. And I said, bless you. And he goes, what? I go, in the United States, everyone says bless you. He goes, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why? I'm like, that cultural difference. So now, like, every time somebody hosts someone from Finland, I say, don't be surprised if they don't say bless you. They don't do it in their culture.
Oh my gosh.
So very interesting.
Now, is there an area that more students come from? Like their country encourages more learning when it comes to going to the United States or other places?
Great question, too. So our program is about global diplomacy. So why it was actually started in the first place was to build that bridge between Germany. And it was way back, after the World Wars or whatever. But so mostly Germans were pushing this from the get-go. Then we started partners with other countries saying, hey, we want to build a partnership with you as well and build that global diplomacy as well. But our company partners with specific partners. So we have a relationship with partners in the country who are recruiting our kiddos. So they'll recruit specific students from their country based on their criteria to bring the student to the United States. Our company is very heavy in Germany, Brazil, and Spain. And that's because we have a strong partnership with those countries to recruit the students. But we have 30 plus countries that we represent.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
What a great eye-opening experience for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just saw a girl is coming from, and I'm going to get it wrong, Kazakhstan? Is that how you say
Sounds
it?
right to me.
Okay. I don't know.
Is it Kyrgyzstan? Maybe? I don't know. Don't
Yes.
ask me. We're going to get that one.
KRY, that one. She's coming, and I've never experienced her culture. I've never seen a student come from that culture in my area. So I'm like, I want to place her just so I can learn about her culture. So it'll be cool.
So do the students know how to speak English when they come?
Yes.
They're very
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
fluent.
I assume so,
I
but
thought so too.
But I want other people to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to pass an English proficiency test. Now, what I see is that they all come and they think my English is horrible. And so it's more about that like self-esteem with their English. So yes, they know how to speak English, but they're like, oh, I don't want to say that because I don't want to get it wrong. And so at the very beginning, sometimes who don't have a strong English base, they do know the English, but they're a little timid to talk. And
Probably know it better than we do.
Yeah, well, a lot of them have had it for 10 plus
And
years.
then formal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're formal, we're slang,
Yep.
basically.
But yes, they have to pass an English proficiency test to come. And typically, on a scale from 1 to 10, typically they're 7, 8s, or 9s or 10s. Very, very often there are 10s, but sometimes a 7, which that doesn't mean they don't know English. So,
So I have to ask, what if you have a child that doesn't fit once they get in that household with that family?
that's a super
What happens?
Super great question. Like I said earlier, when we're looking at a piece of paper of a student and we're looking at a piece of paper of a host family, we're trying to make these connections and we have no idea how that student's been raised. We have no idea how they parent in that household. Sometimes kids are like, I can't adjust to their rules. I've never had rules like this. Or the host family's like, I can't adjust to that. They spend so much time in their room. We're never in our rooms. We really try to say, but we signed up for, they weren't going to be like us. And so we really try to like embrace that and say, okay, how can we help bridge that gap between the differences, but sometimes we can't overcome it.
Right.
And if that is the case, we always just tell host families that same thing. We made this placement on 2 pieces of paper of like guesswork. It's not that you're a bad host family. It's not that this is a bad kiddo, but it's just not a good match, and that's okay. And that does happen. But it really is us trying to say, let's try to figure out the differences and come to a happy medium where we're either pushing that kiddo to be like, hey, go out of your room more, or we're pushing that host family to be like, maybe don't be so rigid on the rules because they're not used to that or whatever. But yes, sometimes it's not a good match.
Do you ever see people sending their children maybe on behalf of, let's say they're in agriculture and they know that, hey, Indiana has great farmland. Maybe, they can go to school, learn English, get this great education, but also learn a little bit about farming in that area. I don't know if that's something that they do specifically.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of kids that will say, like, I'd like to be on a farm because I'd love to learn about that and see what it's like in the United States versus in our country. But yes, sometimes we'll see them say, like, our kiddo really is interested in aviation. Is there a way that we could find somewhere that has a great aviation, opportunity for them to learn about it? But that's really kind of putting kiddos in a box and saying you have to go to this, this location or whatever. But yes, it's been really, really cool. We had a student a couple of years ago that his parents have a farm, and they wanted him to be on a farm in the United States because they wanted him to learn. And he was placed on a cattle farm. I don't remember where. He wasn't on my team, but I remember them saying that the boy went home and said, can we get cows? Because they didn't have cows. And his parents were like, well, we don't really do that. But they were, interested in what he had learned.
We had a family friend when I grew up that had an exchange student from Brazil, Anicio, and he's become family. I mean, he went back to Brazil probably 5 or 6 years ago. He still visits. He's probably 45 now.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was a great relationship. Yeah, it was really fun.
I think I would want to be an exchange student so I can go to a farm. I mean, I want to do like the little pygmy goats, and I want to learn more about them. So you could send me to a
exchange ants.
Yeah.
My favorite part is the piece of when they come back and that relationship they've built. And like, I just went to Brazil just not too long ago. My Brazilian daughter from 7 years ago was graduating from med school. And she had called me and said, I want you to be here. I can't graduate without you. I'm going to cry. And I was like, okay, I'm going.
I'll be there.
Yeah. So I went, and she was like, okay, it's 5 days of a celebration. And out of the 5, 4 of them are formal. And I was like, we don't do that in Indiana.
Do I have to wear like a gown?
Yes. Like a ball gown to 2 of them, because it was like that's
and you
how
can't wear the same one.
that.
No.
Oh my gosh.
And you can't look the same. Your hair had to be different, and your makeup and the whole 9 yards.
I don't have 5 different ways to do my hair.
Just put a different headband in.
Yeah. But it was so awesome to be part of her celebration. And like, so many families have said, our students coming back this summer to spend the summer with us. And I'm like,
That's cool.
It's huge.
It really is.
It's the ripple effect.
It is. Now, you mentioned that you have had exchange students yourself. How many have you had?
We've had 11.
11.
Wow.
11 from all different areas?
Yes, intentionally. So we've had 2 Bolivian brothers. We hosted Octavio and Augusto, and they are 2 years apart. And then we've had 2 Brazilian girls, not related, completely different areas. We've had a Spanish boy, we've had a Chinese boy, we've had a French boy, and Denmark. So yeah.
So your kids have been living at home, obviously, when these exchange students have been here. How has it affected them?
Yes, we started when mine were 5, 6, and 7. And so those poor children who were in our homes when our children were very little. So we had a student from Mexico very first. And I remember watching him. He was sitting on the couch. And he had one sister who was just a year younger than him. So not little.
Not little.
And here's this poor kid. He's sitting on the couch. And literally my kids are climbing all
Just so
over
happy
him.
to have somebody there.
My big brother, blah, blah, blah. So, yes, we started very young and not even realizing why or how important it was going to be or how it was going to affect my boys.
Right.
But the last 2 students that we have hosted have been about the same age as my boys. So William was our French boy from 2 years ago, and he was actually the same age as our middle boy, or our oldest at the time. And so that was the first time that it wasn't this big sibling. It was like an equal.
Right.
And they had an amazing experience with him. Every single one of them always say, like, He was so connected with us because they were this similar age. But the ones who are these big siblings are their biggest cheerleaders. Like our oldest is playing baseball in college right now, and our middle and youngest are playing golf. And every time I post, all of their big siblings are like, "We're so proud of you. You are so awesome." Birthdays, they call. Like, they are an
That's
extension
sweet.
of our family, and it's so cool.
What a great way to open your mind, too.
I know. So when the foreign exchange students come here, what grades do they start at?
So typically, we leave it up to the high school what they want to make them.
Okay.
But typically, they're juniors and seniors because most of them are 16 or 17. That's like the sweet spot for them to come, 15, 16, 17. Because in their culture, they have to be back for their senior year for graduation purposes, or maybe it's when they can come, like the break in school or whatever. So typically we make them junior seniors, especially so they can attend prom and all of those good
fun.
things. But yes, juniors and seniors. But with how testing is right now, all of the juniors have to take this standardized test. So a lot of our schools will say, we're going to make them sophomores so they don't have to take that test while they're here, because they're only here for a year. So it'd be silly for them to take that test. But a lot of them still will take it, and they're fine. Some of them, they'll make seniors. It just depends on the school, and every single school is different.
So do they have to repeat their sophomore year when they go back home?
Good question. Some do, some don't.
Okay, that's what I kind of wondered.
Yep. So my Danish daughter had to repeat when she went home, but my Brazilian two did not. It counted. They had to have specific classes for it to count, but it did count, so they could go on once they got home.
So some of their classes here don't count towards their education back home.
Yeah, my German kids, nothing counts. This is literally a
So like
year.
they're sitting a year
It's an
out
experience.
of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the experience.
Gap year.
But their grades still matter.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you ever place American students anywhere?
Yeah. So Flag actually has an extension of what I do on the J1 side, but they have, it's called Outbound. And so they're just starting. This is just not even a year under our belt of sending students abroad. And actually, they might actually be right now in Japan with a group of kiddos. I think 15 ended up going. So Japan, they're going to Japan, Spain, Brazil, Germany, I think. That's the options. So they're just launching that and getting that up off the ground.
Wow.
Awesome.
But
Sounds
it's
like so much
short.
fun.
What stinks about it is our American schools don't count it. So a lot of kids are like, well, I don't want to lose a year. So it's just short. So they may go for like a month or 3 weeks, something where they can go in between or that gap time to go. But a lot of them are not picking a year because they
Yeah.
don't want to lose. And
Yep.
they don't want to
Yeah.
be back a grade when they come back.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Interesting in the different cultures how they're willing to give up a year to come here,
Yeah.
but we are not because we don't want to start all over and go back.
Yep.
Interesting.
So now's the great time to get started. We mentioned this earlier when we started the interview. If you are interested in hosting an exchange student, let's get the ball rolling now. How do we do that?
Yeah. So Flag has a website. It's foreignlinksaroundtheglobe.com. Jen Ogle, myself, Jen Dieter, we have tons of LCs in this area, which is a local coordinator. Those ladies or men are people that would facilitate the next steps. We have a website. We also have Facebook. Robin Whaley, if you want to, I can help you connect. If you're not in Indiana, if you're not in Howard County, I can still help you get connected with what to do. There's an application on the website if they just want to fill out the application, but then we really need to talk to them so that we can figure out what's
Yeah.
going to be the best fit for their family.
That makes sense for sure.
And you still have a lot of students to place.
About 200.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's cool about that is there's a lot to pick from. So if it's a specific culture somebody wants to host or they want to read and pick one that might fit their family perfect, then we still have quite a few to pick from.
Gosh, everybody sign up.
Yeah. Are you going to get an exchange student?
Well, I'm not.
Aunt Kim?
I'm not a very good example. They would not want to go back home.
I believe that. I would.
Keep them forever then.
I guess
They
you're
would
just
have
gonna
to stay at my
forever.
house forever. Oh yeah, I'm just saying.
What a great long-term relationship that is being forged with these. That's so cool. So, Robin, one more time, if folks are interested, best way to reach out?
I would say go to the website, which is foreignlinksaroundtheglobe.com.
foreignlinksaroundtheglobe.com. Be sure to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us
You're
today.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Can't wait to hear more about it.
I know. So exciting.
Yeah. So your niece is going to have a student from Italy. So you'll,
Ooh.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Do we
I can't
know
wait.
boy or
So-
girl?
it's a girl.
Is it a girl? Yeah.
Carolina.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
pretty name.
They've just, it's just so much fun to see somebody come in the house and have that experience. So, and then they have one that's going to be graduating here very shortly in the
Aw.
next month. Oh,
Goes by fast, doesn't it?
I know.
They grew
it
up so
does.
fast.
I know. So,
Ah,
I know. Big sigh after that.
Robin, thanks so much for joining
Yeah,
us
thank
today.
you. No problem.
That's going to wrap up the Ripple Effect. I'm Jessica Ausbrook. This is Kim Graves. We're from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. Thanks so much for joining us.